Hey there, this is Al, the doo-wopper. All right, we're here tonight, and it's good to be here to talking with you tonight. We're gonna talk about a group that's was way back in the '50s. Also, you might have heard of them. They are the Five Satins. I wondered how did they come up with that name of Satin. But if you ever heard these guys sing, you'll understand why they named it the Satin. They had the smooth, the silky voice, out of sight. They were just playing great. And this group was formed by Fred uh, uh, Parrish. Fred Parrish is the one that originally formed this group. And really, this group here really was not Five Satins. I don't know how they come with that. From the beginning, with it was six of them. Really, it was Fred Parrish, and you had Louis Peepers, Standish Dortch, Ed Martin, Jim Freeman, and Nat Mosley, and that's six. But after a while though, they didn't have very much success, and so really, what happened is Dortch and Pieper they left. They left the group, and so that left them right there with just four. And so they brought in another guy, and so this guy here was Al Denby. So that ended up with the Five Satin. That's where it origin come from. So let's give you a little outline on that. So what happened is they done after they got their group back together. Fred got it all back together, and so they put out the biggest hit of all times at that time. I know you can remember this one, "In the Still of the Night." That song, it stayed on the Billboard. I mean, and the pop charts. It was great. It stayed there for a long time. And so they made this song. When they made this song, they made it, and I mean, 3 or 4 times they made it in different ways and everything, and the oldest and everything, and it stayed up in the high in the charts, and the Still of the Night, and it's one of the greatest hits they ever made. But anyway, after they made this here, Fred Parrish, he left. He got drafted into the Army. So when he got drafted in the Army, he had right then right now they had they was out a leader now. So what they done, they brought another guy in. His name was Bill Baker. Now I tell you, Bill Baker, he wrote the song, and he also this song, it went with sky the same way in the Still of the Night. I know you might remember this song. This song was To the Owl. I tell you, all the girls, they loved it. I loved it because you know what it told you? They told a story about a guy that was wanted to meet this girl, and they slowly, sure everything he done, it was going slowly to the aisle. And so the girls, you know how the girls, they're very emotional. And this song here, the latest is what really kept that song right now on high on the Billboard. And I tell you a little bit how it went. It says, first a boy and a girl meet each other, and they sit down to talk for a while. And his heart, he wanted her for a lover, while he stepped, draws you closer through the aisle. Oh, God, that's the key. Everybody was, that song was something that the ladies really, and the ladies put a little bit pressure on the guys too now about these songs. But that song was a great song, and it just kept going up higher and higher. But anyway, when that came after that song was like I said all the way up, and it went to a gold record. That's how much that sold. And right in Still the Night, it was a gold and a platinum. That's how popular those two songs were at that time. So, these guys was just playing great. But these guys didn't make a lot of hit songs and whatnot. These guys really I believe, was more of the hobby singing. And that's the way I look at that, because of the reason why these guys had careers and everything. And so eventually, you know, after Still the Night was dying down, to the aisle, they made other songs and everything, but they just didn't seem to make it, and it didn't seem to kind of push them that hard to a point. And so they kind of broke up, and then after they broke up, Fred decided he gonna start it over again, and they pulled it back together again, and it done quite well. A couple of songs that they done, but they did not make the song of the two great songs they made. They kept in Still of the Night everywhere they performed. It was a Still of the Night or To the Aisle. And so that's what made them what they were. So these guys, like I'm going back to a little bit, was more, I think, as a hobby in their doo-wop when they was coming up in the 50s, because they was career guys. One of them was an entrepreneur. After they broke up, he went back to, he's a pesticide company he had. And another guy was a psychiatrist. And all of these things, they just seemed to kind of fade away, and they went right back into their careers. So, but they were great. They still was pioneers at that time. And so, they got their mark into the Hall of Fame as the Vocal Hall of Fame. And that was in '03. So they always gonna be recognized at that. But that's about the only group that never, after they went down, that's about the only group that not keep going, like the Drifters and the Platters and all the rest. The Satin, because the Five Satins then turned to be four, and then they call themselves then Fred, Paris, and the Satin. But they just seemed like they didn't go as far as they did when their first big songs they made. But I'm going to bring up a little that we're going to be doing a little later on. And if you describe to this, you could hear a whole lot more. Because the next topic we're going to be talking about is about the problem and how these doo-wop group was ripped off. They were just actually ripped off. They wasn't making the money. These big companies and the labels and whatnot was making the money. I'm going to be going through this with you. I'm going to be telling you and tell you all about these record label that was ripping off these rock and roll and these doo-wop people that was working hard, dressed good, looked good on the stage and everything, but they weren't making the money. They was being ripped off. Some of those people right now that I'm going to be talking to you about, some of these people had to go out and do hard labor work and work minimum wage after they had the group and whatnot broke up. And all of these things will be very interesting to know how they lost everything. And so all of these things that I'm going to be going over with you. So you just listen to and subscribe, and we're going to really get into a lot about the doo-wops groups. So you have a good night, and take good care, and I'll be talking to you, okay?